Two men, both seriously ill, occupied the same hospital room. One man was allowed to sit up in his bed for an hour each afternoon to help drain the fluid from his lungs. His bed was next to the room's only window. The other man had to spend all this time flat on his back. The men talked for hours. They spoke of their wives and families, their homes, their jobs, where they had been on vacation. And every afternoon, when the man in the bed by the window could sit up, he would pass the time by describing to his roommate all the things he could see outside the window. The man in the other bed began to live for those 1-hour periods where his world would be broadened by all the activity and color of the world outside. The window overlooked a park with a lovely lake. Ducks and swans played on the water while children sailed their model boats. Grand old trees graced the landscape, and a fine view of the city skyline could be seen in the distance. As the man by the window described all this in exquisite detail, the man on the other side of the room would close his eyes and imagine the scene. Days and weeks passed. One morning, nurse arrived to bring water for their baths only to find the lifeless body of the man by the window, who had died peacefully in his sleep. She was saddened and called the hospital attendants to take the body away. As soon as it seemed appropriate, the other man asked if he could be moved next to the window. The nurse was happy to make the switch, and after making sure he was comfortable, she left him alone. Slowly, painfully, he propped himself up on one elbow to take his first look at the world outside. Finally, he would have the joy of seeing it for himself. He strained slowly, turned to look out the window beside the bed. It faced a blank wall. The man asked the nurse what could have compelled his deceased roommate, who had described such wonderful things, outside this window. The nurse responded that the man was blind and could not even see the wall. She said, "Perhaps he just wanted to encourage you." Moral of the story: there is tremendous happiness in making others happy despite our own situations. If we shared grief, it makes half of sorrow, but if we shared happiness, it makes doubled. If we want to feel rich, just count all of the things you have that money can't buy. Today is a gift, that's why it is called the present. The Bible tells us what Jesus did to find true happiness in life. He came into our world as a human being to give true happiness. For the joy set before him, he endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. Hebrews chapter 12 verse 2. This was the way the man of sorrows found happiness. Do we think that God did it with his teeth clenched and his jaw tight? No, he loved us so much that he gave his gift. It made him happy to do this, and he loved us all. When he did, it made him incredibly happy, because that is what happens when you do something to make someone else happy and blessed. It makes you happy. May God continue to bless all the hearer and doers of his word.